We're now recording.
Okay, thanks, Phil. Right, so first of all then, Dave, I presume, I don't know if you want to say anything first or just go straight into your screen share.
Yeah, I'll say something, yeah. I've not done this sort of thing before, but as you know, I was a judge for about 13 years, 12, 13 years. And I've been around and judged one or two panels. And I'd just like to go over what a panel is. Whether you're doing digital or prints, if you're doing prints, which I don't think we'll be doing for quite a while yet, you must make sure that your mount colour and size is all the same, and the window of the mount where you put your picture, that's got to be the same, and the top and bottom have got to be equally level. You've got to have no distractions in the panel. You can do, in the case of us tonight, we do either 3 or 4. In the case of Solihull, they do 3, 4 or 5 images in a panel. Make sure that the picture on the left looks into the middle of the panel, and the one on the right looks the opposite way into the middle, and then the centre picture needs to be looking head on. You can use all landscape format, or you can use landscape and portrait, as long as you've only got one of each. Normally you can have a landscape on the left, landscape side on the right, and the portrait in the middle, so that would gel together. But again, making sure that when you put them in, they're all level. Picture composition is a must, and it doesn't matter if you've got some good pictures. 3 good pictures don't always make a panel. You need, if you're going out to do a panel, to go out and specifically go out to photograph the panel you want to do. It's no good picking up 3 pictures from your folders or files and putting them together and saying this is a panel. It doesn't work. And if they are 3 good pictures, or you've got 2 good pictures, 2 good pictures is not going to make a good panel of 3. I'm going to go out now and I'm going to show you a few of my digital panels. Some are all right, some were good, some didn't go through, and I'll show you why. So I'm going to screen share now. Can you see that? Can you see my
Yeah.
You can see my,
Yeah, we can see that.
You can see that, okay. I'm going to go into my files here. So I'll keep mine in Photoshop at the moment. Here we are. There's a few panels. Can you see those?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to start at the first one on the top left, which is the poppies. Now this is a panel that tells a story from the beginning. Can you see my cursor as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a picture that tells a story of the poppy. When it starts to break, halfway through when it's coming out, and then finally the bottom one here when the flower is fully out. Now this is 4 pictures in the panel. You've got the 2 or the 3 smaller ones, and the large one, which is called creating the background. Now in the case of this one, the problem with this, and the judges didn't like this, is that the top left middle, the background is the same colour, whereas the background on the bottom one, where the flower is full blown, is completely different. So that didn't work. It completely didn't work at all. So that's the sort of thing you've got to look out for. Where's the next one? This one here. Let's show you this one. This is a picture I took, and it's done quite well actually. But this is a 4-picture panel again. It's a picture of some pebbles down on the beach, and the background being a large rock. Now, if you look at this picture closely, you'll see that the the two in the middle are actually the same as the bottom one here is this one on the left, and the top one is the one on the right. The background, you'll see that the one on the right and the left is the same background, but the background has been flipped. But putting them all together like this, it works quite well. And the background again there is a rock that they've been put onto. Now I don't know whether Christine is going to, when she shows you how to do a panel, whether she'll show you how to do this drop shadow. I don't know whether you'll do that. Will you do that, Chris?
I will try.
You'll try, okay. Yeah.
I'm sure you'll chat.
That's a panel that works quite well because all the pictures match. If you notice again, you see that the left background and the right background, the tones are equally the same, although the one in the middle is not quite, but that doesn't matter because it's just the one off. The three pictures match together quite well. Another one here. What about these otters? The three otters, all three different pictures, not one flipped. You would think probably that the one on the left and right may be flipped, but you can tell by the whiskers they're not. And the one on the right, you can just about see the ear of him on the top of his head there. I can't remember where I took these, but he was just looking over the side of the whatever it was, the confined place that he was in. And he was just looking over the top. And I took a few pictures, and I sort of managed to put these three together. As you can see, the one on the left is looking into the picture, the one on the right is looking into the picture, and the one in the centre is looking head on. The only difference being is these particular pictures is the little pad. I don't know what that is. That is resting on. Is different in all three pictures. Again, this is a picture that's got four. The background again is one of those pebbles or that I saw in the earlier picture, and it works again quite well. This one I've put a drop shadow on it, and I've also gone into Photoshop and put the bevel on to make it look like a 3D picture. Any questions so far? No? No. Okay. Now another one here that I did, which didn't work, and you can see why. It's a panel of door fittings. Now, the background being the door. The one in the middle here, I've just selected the handles itself and put it over onto the left, and it's changed shape. But the thing that spoils this panel is the one on the right. It's completely nothing like any of the other two, and it's a completely different colour. So that one we could discontinue right away. It doesn't work. But you can see what I mean when I'm talking about landscape. You've got the two on the left and right, which are landscape format, and the one in the middle that is a portrait. If that was anything else other than these fittings, it'd probably work. But it's just the colour of the one on the right that doesn't make the picture work. Any questions? No. No questions. Okay, I like that. The Humber Bridge here. I think you may have seen that sometime before. But one of the things you have to do when you're doing a panel is you've got to make sure that it is completely straight. The top of this one here and the top of that one are all in line, as are the bottom there. The difference on this one is the horizon. If you look at the one on the right here, the horizon in the distance there is slightly higher than the horizon in the other two. So the judge will pick up on that. And albeit that the pictures are good pictures, because it doesn't match up and it doesn't fit, they will throw this one out. So that's the Humber Bridge, which is just that the panel, the horizon doesn't fit. And some people have said to me, "Oh, that's a picture left and right." They've been flipped. But if you look at the sky in the background, you'll see that it's two different pictures. Let's see if we can find another one. What about these starfish? Again, starfish. Some starfish I found on the beach. I took photographs of them. I thought they'd make a nice panel, which they do. The background is just a pebble beach. Put a mask on it and drop the opacity. But the problem with this one again is you've got 3 different starfish, which is great, but it would have been better had they all been central. That one's central, that one's not quite central, and that one's way over to the right. If you're going to do it, this I'm not talking about the pictures, the panels. So I'm talking about the starfish itself. Would have been better had it been in the middle, and that again is something that the judge will pick up on. Let's find another one. Some more pebbles. I did a 4-picture panel of these pebbles that I found on the beach and put them all together. And again, the judge, he wasn't keen, because you've got 3 nice pebble pictures. You've got the top left, the top right, and the bottom left. Bottom right with a cross on it here, it doesn't match up at all, because if you look at the background, the rock itself is smaller than the other pictures, and you've got a different background in the back. This would have been better as a 3-picture panel. But again, you know, you must make sure that they all fit together and they all level. That one, I think, is not quite level with that one. You need to get the grid up, and I think Christine will show you how to put a grid on so that you can line your panels up. Okay, Christine, can you do that?
Indeed.
Good girl. This one again, I'll show you this one. This one was taken in Yellowstone. This one, you'll see that it's on the right. You've got a nice curve leading you into the centre, and on the left hand side, you've got again another curve leading you to the centre, and then you've got the full blown vision in the middle. Now, if you look at the left and the right, you will see that it is a flipped picture, because you can see the mountain there is the same as the mountain over there, but it's a different viewpoint. It's the same picture basically, but it's a quite different viewpoint. So it does work, even though you flip them sometimes. But what you must make sure you don't do is to flip this picture so that you've got the left and the right identical pictures, but just flipped. I'm going to do you one more, and then we're going to pass you over to Christine. Which one should we do? This one here. I think you've probably seen that one before. Again, 4 pictures of Western Burt, with the background just some leaves. Drop the opacity, so that it creates a nice background, and then you just drop the 3 pictures onto the picture using your grid. Now you'll notice that the bottom one here, the tree is central. The trees on the left there are leaning into the picture, and the trees on the right are leaning into the picture as well. And I think if you were to join those 2 pictures together, those trees there would sort of join together. So that's been successful for me. And I'm going to leave you with that, I think. We'll pass over to Christine now. Is there any questions about panels? No?
Thanks very much, Dave. That was great.
Okay.
Thank you, David.
So I'll just stop sharing.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm back in the big room.
Thanks. One thing I just want to point out, as David was saying about when he got 3 with the background, which is a 4th picture, our club doesn't count that as a picture. So you can put 3 or 4 onto a background, be it plain or an image of some sort. So the actual background image doesn't count in the counting, if that makes sense. But you can use a picture as your background, or you could just use a plain one. Okay, right, so let's see if we can start sharing my screen. I've lost my Photoshop now. Where's that gone? Oh, there it is. Right, okay, so I'm going to put a panel together. It's actually a print panel I put in a few years ago, but and it's one I haven't got a digi panel of at the moment. So if I look in my photo bin, you can see I've got 3 pictures, which I'll show you one at a time. So I've got, let's get that so you can see it. That one which I'm going to use as my left-hand picture. That one is the middle picture. And then that one with the fish as the right-hand picture. And looking at it now, you can see the sort of right-hand one is slightly different because it's got those rushes in the background, but it's more the principle, really. Go with Dave when it comes to talking about what a panel actually is. And if you haven't done one before, or you've not done this before, you do need to set up a grid on your picture, and you need to set up, I think it's edit preferences. I meant to look this up because mine's preset. Where is it? Route guides and grids, hopefully. And you can set up your grid, and you can say how many pixels, how when you want the grid and how many pixels. This one's set up to 1 grid line every 70 pixels. Basically, because I'm going to start with a canvas that's twice the size of our club resize. So instead of doing 1400 by 1050, I'm going to do it 28 by 21. And all those numbers divide by 7. So that's why I put 70 on there, because you want your grid to fit exactly onto your canvas. If we put 60, you get half squares. I'll show you in a moment. So you need your grid every however many pixels it is to divide exactly into the dimensions that you're using for your picture. If that's not clear, please ask. Okay, so you set your grid and say okay. And to get your grid onto your picture, you just go into view grid, and you can see that I must have cropped that differently. Yeah. Okay, so you can see that brings the grid up for you. And when it comes to leveling your pictures on your background, then you can use your grid, but you don't on the picture. So we'll get rid of that. And it doesn't fit exactly. Right, okay. Say again?
You just go, you got to alter the grid. That's the one I was scribbling on. How to change the size of the grid.
You change the size of the grid in edit, preferences.
Oh, right, okay, that's fine.
Guides and grid.
Yeah, fine.
Okay, and then you change it if you want to change the grid there, and you haven't. So you play with them, the colours and everything are on there to get your grid. Yeah. Okay. Right, so I'm going to put those 3 pictures onto a panel. So first of all, we need to put a canvas on to put everything onto. So we just want to start a new file. Try again, file, new, get out, blank file. And I'm going to set this blank new file to be, as I said, 2800 pixels wide by 2100 pixels high. And you can change, you can have white, white, the background colour, or transparent. I don't know why it only gives you those choices. My background colour, as you can see at the left-hand side, is at the moment black, which is quite lucky because that's what I want. So I'm going to start off with a black canvas. You can make this any colour you like. You can put, this is when you can put your picture onto it, but we'll come to that later. We're going to set up the picture actually on this black canvas, which is the right dimensions for what we need to resize, but bigger, and I'll show you why. What I do first is I'm going to resize the pictures into club size, just so that when we move them onto the canvas, they actually fit in with the combine, because this picture is a PSD file and it's quite large. So we'll do image, resize, image size, and we'll make it 1400 by 1050. It already is. I must have done this already. Okay, so this picture is resized to 1400 by 1050. Okay, back to panel bin, into that one. This one we do image, resize, image size, and we'll make it the height of 1050 and let the width take care of itself. We're not going to save any of these, so you're not messing up any of your pictures, but they'll all be dragged onto the other sheet. And then this one, image resize, image size 1400 by 1050. Okay. If it doesn't matter if they're not the right shape, as long as they are the same shape. Certainly, like these, when I'm going to put 3 on, the 2 outside pictures must be the same. So if they came at 1400 by 700, say, and they were long thin pictures, that's fine, as long as they are the same as each other. So where they should be the same, make sure they are the same. Is that making sense? Anybody got a query on that? Okay, so now we go back onto our black and we're going to drag these 3 pictures into the black canvas. There's 2 ways you can do it. Just watch this way first. It's a little bit not complicated exactly, but a bit peculiar, because if you take the picture there out of your photo bin, sorry, don't click on it, just drag it into there. It goes in, but if you look at the layers palette on the right hand side, if you can see my little hand, it's got a little funny thing at the bottom of it. I don't understand it. It's a smart object. You can see that when I actually go on to it. But what you need to do if you pull it in that way is just right click and simplify the layer, and that just turns it into an ordinary layer. And now don't ask me about smart objects. I don't know why they go in as smart objects. I'm now going to put this, I'm going to put my move tool on and just move this up where more or less where I want it, out the way up there. Then I'm going to put my grid on, view grid, and you can see the grid. You can use it to line up your pictures, also to resize your pictures, because obviously that's going to be too big in the frame. Be very careful with resizing. Only resize. I don't know if you can see the resize thing. I'm down the bottom right hand corner. If I go onto the right there, if you look at the bottom here, it says constrain proportions. So it means if I move it from there and resize it, it'll keep it the same shape. If you use any of these handles on the sides, you'll squash or stretch the picture, which you clearly don't want to do. So always use the corner handles. I've only done a temporary resize there just to get it more or less where I want it. So, okay, so we'll do the tick, and then we'll go and find back into the photo bin, another picture, the vertical picture, drag that one in. Okay. Right click it and simplify it so that you can do things with it. Again, we can just make it a little bit smaller for now. This isn't the finished size. This is just so we can see what we're doing. And then 3rd picture, grab, drag. No, that didn't work, did it? Grab. Oh, I haven't clicked the little green tick. I keep forgetting that. Apologies. Drag, and then that one will come in as well. And then we can simplify that one. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, simplify. And then we'll move that somewhere up there out the way. Now, I think what I really want to do with this one is to have them down more towards the middle, and the that one in the middle. Oops, no. And that one somewhere there, but obviously smaller. The beauty of this is that if you actually just click, if you've got the move tool selected up here, if you just click on the image itself, it actually automatically moves you to that layer. So, you know, click onto this one and then you can move this one up and down. Right, okay, so we'll now try and resize these. You have to be able to count, because you obviously, if you, I've probably cropped this, well, we're going to put a background on, crop it landscape, but we will put it in the middle to start with, because we've got an awful lot of empty space here. Or alternatively, we could put our 2 horizontal, you can design exactly how you will, there's no fixed rules, and we could put that one down there. Let's start with this one, and we'll bring it 2 squares in and 2 squares across. You can use the move tool like that to drag it, but if you just want absolute accuracy, you can use the up and down arrows, and that will just move it just slightly. Can you see it's just going up and down a little bit there? So we'll start with that one there, and that's can't count 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 13 high by whatever that width is, and it's 2 in from the top and 2 in from the bottom. So we'll make this picture. Need to click the green arrow onto that picture, and we'll resize that down, move it up to the corner so it's 2 in and 2 down like that, and then just pull this handle down until it meets that horizontal line like that. Not quite right there, because as you can see, although the grid fits exactly, we're not quite on the grid line, so you've just got to play a little bit around with the resize here to can you see that one doesn't quite reach that grid line, but that one's dead on it, so you just need to make that one a tad bigger and move it up slightly. I'm not going to spend hours doing this, but just be really sure that you get that exactly right. So you just use the corner handles to change the size, and then just for the fine adjustments, use your up down key on the keyboard. And then we'll put this one in its middle. Oh, I didn't apply that again. Right, okay. We'll put this one in the middle and 2 up. Oopsie daisy. That's not right, is it? I've got one. Yes, it is. It was right, yeah. You can see that middle handle that we're not going to change size with, this one here on the 2 line, right in the middle of those 2, and that. Okay, I'm not really sure I particularly like the balance of that one, but it's just really showing you the principle of how you set them up. So I probably would put 3 in a row, but just for the purpose of this, we'll leave it like that now. And if we take the grids off, if you just switch the grids off, hopefully that looks pretty balanced as far as size is concerned. Is there any questions on that? It's really strange talking to yourself because you can't see if anybody's actually asleep. Right, now then, I'm not the world's expert at drop shadows and the like, as David obviously is, but I'm going to try. And I don't know, David?
Yes.
You do it at this point, you don't, or do you do it on the picture before you take it in?
No, I do it at that point.
You do it at this point, okay. Right, okay, so we're going to put a drop shadow, or try.
Can I just say something?
Of course.
I don't think your black shadow is going to show any black background.
Does it have to be black, the drop shadow?
No, you can do it any colour you like.
Okay. We'll have a look at that then. I mean, we could change the colour of the background, or we can put a picture on the background, but at the moment we'll just have a look at the drop shadow and, well, let's check. Let's, I don't know, what colour background do we want? Get a colour picker and pick a colour. Pick his chest. That's a bit grey. Okay, we'll try that. And so I'm going to change the colour of the background so we can see this drop shadow. So I go into the background, select all, and then I'm going to fill this selection with my foreground colour. Okay. Oh, it's pretty horrible, isn't it? But that'll do for now. We should see the shadow on that one, shouldn't we?
I think so.
Yeah. Apologies for the colour, but it'll show the thing. But you can choose any colour you like there. I think I'm sure David will correct me if I do it wrong. First of all, I'm going to go back into the move tool and onto the grey heron. That's not quite worked because I'm not on the move tool. Okay, so I'm on the layer with the grey heron. I select now, if I switched all my other layers off, you can see what I was doing. So I've got the grey heron there. And I then use the magic wand tool in the selection tools here, where you've got your all the quick selection tools, to select the background, which selects everything bar the heron. And then I'll select the inverse, which has now selected my heron. I'll put this yellow thing back on again. So you can see I've now got a selection of the heron. So I've got styles up here. And on styles, oh gosh, I should be able to choose drop shadow. and you pick the drop shadow that you like. There's all sorts, it tells you what they are. Fill out like, which one do you use, David? This one?
Don't do it that way, but never mind. Go on. Carry on. That's all right.
It's all right. That one's a bit.
That one there.
That one noisy. Okay, so we just click on that, and hopefully we've got a drop shadow. If I just get rid of the selection, select, deselect. Yep. So we've now got a drop shadow on that. Did everybody follow that? To get into this style, excuse me, you go into Window and select Styles there. So if I switch that off, it disappears from up the top right here. And if I go to Window, Styles, it comes back on again. It's next door to your Layers palette up there. Yeah. So to do that, obviously we're going to bring get those two up. We'll go into that one, and we'll take the magic wand tool, select the background. Oh, I'm in the bottom one, aren't I? Yeah, select the inverse. So I've now got this bottom heron selected on this, and then into Styles and click on there. And then, okay, and then we're going to go onto, back into the move tool, back into him. Get the magic wand tool up. On the right layer, am I on Mr. Heron? Yeah, right layer, okay. Okay, select the inverse, which should select just that picture, and just click onto the drop shadow. Okay, maybe afterwards, David, you can explain what you do, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so that's doing a drop shadow on them. I mean, they're not compulsory. Some pictures look better for them, some look very silly with them, but I think on these you can, if you go into them and you go into settings on the shadows, you can make your drop shadow bigger if you want it. You make it come further from your picture. You can make it different opacities, and you make it, presumably you can set the color of your shadow there, so it doesn't have to be black, but you know, shadows generally are sort of black, aren't they? So okay, so it's not a difficult process particularly. It's just remembering to simplify those layers when you drag your pictures in from the photo bin. The beauty of the photo bin is, if you're looking at your pictures as well, is you can actually see the previews there. You can see quite easily, to a certain extent, if you think it makes a decent panel. From looks a bit like what David was showing us down here when he'd finished his panels in the landscape format, all in a row. You can actually see if the inwards, if the tones are the same, if the colors are the same. So that's important. Second thing is, make sure you size the ones that are supposed to be the same size exactly by making them 1400 wide, and check that the height is the same. Otherwise you will need to crop the pictures slightly to get them exactly the same size. So if they're supposed to be the same size, make sure that they are. Make sure that you line everything up exactly on the grid, and as I say, use your move to keep in the move tool mode, and every time you click on I put the layers palette back up here, over here. Every time you then click on a picture, it automatically takes you to the right layer. And then, just to say, make sure your tones are right, your size is right, your lining up is right, because those are the things that technically, this is more the technical side than the pictorial side. That's technically what the judge will look for, as well as, obviously, are they good pictures? Do they come together as a panel? Right, I think that's about it on that. I'll come out, and if there's any questions, I can always pop back in again. So I'm coming out my screen share, hopefully.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes, I don't know who's that speaking. I'm sorry.
Well,
sorry?
I'm Rod Embley. I'm down as Bruce Embley. I'm not quite sure how that's happening.
Oh yes, talking. Yes, it says that. Yeah, of course you
I'm
can.
intrigued that these shadows are, to me, all right-handed.
Yeah.
I would have thought, if I was judging it, and I'm no judge, and I'd probably be wrong, I would think the top right-hand picture should have a left-handed shadow on it, so it balances better. I'm presumably wrong.
No, you're not wrong particularly. I mean, if you go into the style settings, you can actually change your angle of dangle here. Look.
But I noticed all David's were all the shadow going the same way?
Well, I think that's because you assume that the light is probably coming from.
Ah, well, okay. So yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's why I do it that way, but not sure there is a right or a wrong way. But
can I say something? I would have thought that you need the shadow all the same on all three of them, because you're going to assume that the light is hitting those pictures from the same direction. So the shadow would all be in the same direction.
Okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
To me, it makes it look unbalanced as a picture. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your panel at the end of the day, and you can set it up how you like. So you could do your drop shadow. You could perhaps do a top left, and on the left hand one.
I personally would have had a bigger shadow and dropped the opacity.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as I say, on the settings here,
yeah,
you can do that. You can suggest your size, you can check your distance, and you can do your opacity. So if you want bigger drop shadows, you just whack your size up. If you want smaller ones, you bring the size down. I mean, the thing is that you can try it, and then you can, just get rid of it and do the next size. You can keep trying things until you get the picture that you want. There's no prescribed way of doing it. It's your personal choice of what looks better on your picture.
Okay, thank you, Christine.
Okay, but I personally like all, as Dave says, like it all coming the same way. But if you was to say, I say you might want to do the shadow up there on that one, up there on that one, and maybe on this one surround it. It wouldn't be a drop shadow, but you could put I agree. A small border on it.
Or no shadow at all.
Or no shadow at all. I mean, they're not. I don't put drop shadow. Occasionally, I put drop shadows on. I think David uses them more than I do. But it's like photographs. It's your own personal choice. What we're really trying to show you here is give you the tools, and you go and do what you like. But this one is really the technical issues of making sure that. Let's get rid of this because it'll be in. Making sure that technically the judge isn't going to get distracted by. If you get this bit wrong, however good the pictures are, if one's sort of half an inch out or it's not, not centered or something, you don't want the judge to get fixated on that. If it could be a stunning panel, but if you don't get this bit right, you're going to lose on it, So you just need to spend a bit of time making sure everything lines up. And then this is twice the size you need. So when you finished it, you still need to do your 1400 by 1050 total resize for the picture. I say the reason I make it bigger is then when I drag those pictures in, if I drag the pictures in as they were in the first place, they'd probably be about 6 times the size of the background, and trying to pull them back down in size gets a bit cumbersome. So that's the way I do it. And I know Sue probably does something totally different, and Photoshop has probably got a totally different method of doing it. So I'm going to come out my screen share now, hopefully. I can always go back in if there's any more queries on that.
Dave, could you possibly show us how you do your drop shadows?
Right. Yeah. I'm going to use a different picture. Okay, so I've got a blank background, which I'm going to put a picture into it and put a drop shadow on. I've not done this in front of anyone before, so you'll have to excuse me. I've got the two pictures down the bottom. You see on the far right here, I've got the fog bow and the blank screen. So I'm going to put on there the grid. Okay. I'm now going to drag with the drag tool. Start again. I'm going to drag the picture into there. And just resize it slightly. Okay, so it's nothing special. It's just rough. Okay, then take away the grid. Okay, if you go into layers, I think it's there, and you've got layer style. Okay, layer style. There's all your things. Click onto drop shadow. Yeah. Okay. Do the size. Opacity. You can make it darker or whatever. Distance. Okay. Move it around a bit to wherever you want to put it. You can put it up to the top if you want to, or down to the bottom there. Opacity. Like that. And then say OK. And then you've got your drop shadow.
Oh, yeah, that's better.
It's the same screen, wasn't it, as I got, but just got into a different way.
Different way, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Simple as that.
That's great.
Does that make sense?
That does. That seems to give a little bit more flexibility about what you can do, the size and the blur. And
It's the same screen, Phil. It's just going in a different way. And then going into the settings on the one I showed.
Do you want to go out of this now? Do you want to do it again?
What about resizing the canvas to fit our 1400 by 1050?
You want to change the size of that canvas?
Yes, if we were, say, entering that one in a competition.
Okay, if I was entering that, what I would flatten it. Okay, so we got the whole thing flattened there. I would then image. So the whole thing is now the image. I would go to resize, canvas size. There, I would probably put a board around it of how many pixels? What, 8 pixels or something like that. And make the border.
You've got 88, Dave, before you press the key.
Oh yes. 8. Make sure it's black and say OK. You see, you put a black border around it now. And then I would go back to the image, resize, image size, and I would make it 1400. And it's 1052, so I should take that down to. I would. Where am I? It doesn't really matter, does it? Okay. So there we are. So that's 1400 now.
That 2 is the
Thank you, Dave.
the size, is it, Dave?
Is that all right?
That 2 pixels is where.
I can't hear. Who's talking?
Dave.
I hear you.
Pardon?
Oh yeah. Okay. I didn't realise who was talking. It's you, David, is it?
Yeah, I was just saying that because it came at 152, it was just the thickness of the border that added onto it, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Should I go out of that or not? Is everybody happy with that?
You can read it.